Episode 56 VL, July 2nd, 2024. Bans on wood burning should include indoor residential wood burning. In Episode 56 VL1, Rozep View. Bans on wood burning should include indoor residential wood burning. 2. New York Times, Climate Forward Email Newsletter. July 2nd, 2024. A seismic Supreme Court decision. Here's how the end of the Chevron doctrine could affect climate regulation. On Friday, the Supreme Court upended 40 years of legal precedent, sharply limiting the regulatory authority of federal agencies. 3. World. PM 2.5 and loss of independence later in life. 4. World. PM 2.5 and premature death. 5. United States. Census. PM 2.5 and mortality. 6. Alaska. U.S. National Interagency Fire Center Wildfire Update. 7. California. Fresno. How to monitor Central Valley air quality as fires burn. 8. California. Orange County. How much do fireworks impact Orange County's air quality? 9. California. San Bernardino County. PM 2.5 and wildfire. 10. Colorado. Boulder, Gilpin, and Elbert counties issue fire restrictions due to increasing fire danger. 11. Indiana. Allen County. Fort Wayne. Barns destroyed in Northeast Allen County fire. 12. North Carolina Good Men Project. Burning wood is not renewable energy, so why do policymakers pretend it is? 13. Oregon. Portland. PM 2.5 and meat. Is meat smoke actually a health hazard? 14. Oregon. Union County begins regulated use fire season. 15. Canada. Facebook posts. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, June 30th, 2024. A non-burner's indoor air quality should never be compromised by a nearby wood-burning stove, fire pit, or debris burning. Our homes are our sanctuary where we should be safe, comfortable, and relaxed. 16. Canada. Alberta. Fort McMurray Forest Area Wildfire Update. 17. New Zealand. Timaru. Reduce air pollution in Timaru. Environment Canterbury pleads. 18. United Kingdom. England National Health Service, NHS. PM 2.5 and mortality. 19. United Kingdom. Northern Ireland. Does poor air quality contribute to 800 deaths in Northern Ireland every year? 20. United Kingdom. Southend. Firefighters face thick black smoke as they tackle blaze at Southend home. Yahoo News UK. Smoke coming from the property. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, you will see the old-fashioned wood-burning stove on a brick hearth and exposed red brick. 21. Greece. 2 wildfires are burning near Greece's capital, fueled by strong winds. 22. China. PM 2.5 and cross-regional air pollution classification. 23. Pakistan. PM 2.5 and deaths of children under 5 years old. Main content. 1. Rozep View. Bans on wood burning should include indoor residential wood burning. There are often bans on outdoor wood burning, including bans on outdoor wood boilers. In the past, it may have been more difficult to identify where the wood smoke was coming from when it came from inside a house. But now we have Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors which can be placed hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. The PM 2.5 level data from these Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors can show the source of the pollution, which is often indoor residential wood burning, and Purple Air PM 2. Monitors can reliably and accurately show that PM 2.5 is above Environmental Protection Agency National Ambient Air Quality Standards, EPA NOx, of above 35 micrograms per cubic meter in a 24-hour period, above 9 micrograms per cubic meter annually, or above the World Health Organization PM 2.5 safe limits of 5 micrograms per cubic meter. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5, particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. In comparison, after testing the cleanest burning indoor residential wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design wood stove, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 and CO2 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. 2. New York Times, Climate Forward Email Newsletter. July 2nd, 2024. A seismic Supreme Court decision. Here's how the end of the Chevron doctrine could affect climate regulation. On Friday, the Supreme Court upended 40 years of legal precedent, sharply limiting the regulatory authority of federal agencies. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. July 2nd, 2024. The court threw out the so-called Chevron deference, one of the most cited precedents in American law, which has guided courts to defer to the expertise of federal agencies when interpreting unclear laws. Instead, the justices ruled, courts should have more power to interpret these statutes. Environmentalists fear that the decision could lead to hundreds of rules being weakened or eliminated, particularly Environmental Protection Agency limits on air pollution, regulations, and policies to tackle climate change. Rozep View. Excerpts are from opinions of several different interviewees in reaction to the ruling. The opinions were combined by Rozep and opinions were divided by Rozep into 6 categories. 1. Industry lawsuits. 2. Health issues for average Americans. 3. Pocketbook issues for average Americans. 4. Court responses. 5. Probably no car and truck emission rule changes. And 6. Probably no changes to regulations in support of climate goals of the United States. 1. Environmentalists' opinions about American industries that do not want air pollution regulation. Anytime the court makes it harder for the government to regulate and easier for businesses to challenge regulations, it makes it more likely that the industry will injure the public and the planet in search of profits. It's basic economics. The sky's the limit for industry now. No regulation is immune from challenge. If industry decides to challenge the EPA's underlying authority to regulate CO2, they might win. The same could apply to all rules, such as mileage standards and power plant emissions. Chevron shines a spotlight on our failure to weaken the oil and gas industry's stranglehold on national climate and energy policy. Industries are likely to prioritize challenging regulations, new or old, that impose the most substantial costs on them. They'll do that whenever they can argue that the agency's regulation isn't clearly justified by the language of the underlying law. We expect industry to continue its assault on regulations that protect Americans by protecting the environment. In the short term, the ruling means courts are more likely to restrict the EPA's ability to use long extant means still existing, not destroyed or lost, sections of the Clean Air Act to enact sweeping climate rules, for example regulations on power plants. 2. Environmentalist opinions about on health effects on the average American of loosening of air pollution regulations. There is a risk of lessening of protections for clean air. The danger of this decision is that more Americans will suffer from worse effects of climate change and air pollution that government regulations protect against. Any decision that impedes environmental protection will harm Americans' health. 3. Environmentalist opinions about on pocketbook effects on the average American of loosening of air pollution regulations. 4. Environmentalist opinion on how the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts may respond to legal challenges to air pollution regulations in the wake of reversal of Chevron. It makes climate regulations under the Clean Air Act more susceptible to judicial reversal. It shifts the power from the agencies to the courts. The Biden administration, EPA, laid out a clear legal analysis explaining why its reading of the law is the correct or best reading, the tests that now seem to prevail, along with a strong factual scientific and technical record to support each rule. That's no guarantee the U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority will agree. But the EPA has provided a sound legal basis for its rules in anticipation of the post-Chevron regime. Chief Justice Roberts created a space to allow for congressional delegation of agency discretion to fill in the details of a statutory scheme by using language like appropriate or reasonable. This could give space to agencies to address climate. It will dampen the enthusiasm of agencies like EPA to issue aggressive new climate regulations based on our existing laws. It will make it harder to defend President Biden's expansive suite of pollution control regulations in court. Courts will now evaluate the EPA's interpretation solely on the strength of its legal justification, without any deference favoring the EPA's views. 5. Environmentalist opinion on how new Biden administration rules on car and truck emissions and other air pollution regulations in the Inflation Reduction Act and other Biden administration regulations will fare. Measures that regulate emissions from cars and trucks were written in anticipation that the Supreme Court would roll back Chevron. These new car and truck emission rules may be more resistant to legal challenges. 6. What happens to U.S. climate goals? Because new climate rules don't rely on Chevron, and because Congress, through the Inflation Reduction Act, has strengthened climate and clean energy incentives and the EPA's regulatory authority, we don't think this court ruling will, or should, block U.S. climate progress. There will be lots of lawsuits, but we believe the EPA's standards meet the court's new test. Regulations that the Biden administration has put on the books when it comes to climate change are already being challenged as soon as they are published. This may not make them any more likely to be challenged sooner. Additionally, in the New York Times Climate Forward newsletter, excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. In the United States, Judge ends Biden's liquefied natural gas, LNG, pause. A federal judge on Monday ordered the Biden administration to resume issuing permits for liquefied natural gas export facilities. The government had paused that process in January to analyze how those exports affect climate change, the economy, and national security. The decision is a response to a lawsuit filed by 16 Republican state attorneys general. In the United Kingdom, Britain's Labour Party appears to be on the cusp of a landslide victory in the country's elections on Thursday, July 4, 2024. The Labour Party is said to want to make Britain a global climate leader. 3. World. PM 2.5 and loss of independence later in life. Prolonged exposure to pollution can lead to loss of independence in later life, study suggests. Medical Express. PM 2.5, particulate matter less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter. PM 10-2.5, particulate matter ranging from 2.5 micrometers to 10 micrometers in diameter. ppb, parts per billion. 4. World. PM 2.5 and premature death. Global air pollution and wildfires cause over 135 million premature deaths. 1. Green planet. PM 2.5 consists of tiny particles that can penetrate the lungs and enter the bloodstream, posing serious health risks. 5. United States. Census. PM 2.5 and mortality. Disparities in air pollution attributable mortality in the U.S. population by race/ethnicity and nature. Using existing concentration, response functions, published particulate matter, PM 2.5, air pollution estimates, population estimates at the census. 6. Alaska. U.S. National Interagency Fire Center Wildfire Update. July 1, 2024. Forest Economic Advisors, FEA. 15 wildfires are burning in Alaska, 4 each in California, and FEA compiles the wood markets news from various third-party sources. 7. California, Fresno. How to monitor Central Valley air quality as fires burn. ABC 30 Fresno. All can help keep you safe from harmful particulate matter. PM 2.5 is so microscopic that it gets deep into your lungs. It can get into your bloodstream. 8. California, Orange County. How much do fireworks impact Orange County's air quality? Voice of OC. On the 4th of July and in the days after, air quality monitors reported major spikes of a material called particulate matter 2.5, or PM 2.5, which 9. California, San Bernardino County. PM 2.5 and wildfire. Sierra Fire in San Bernardino County 80% contained. No remaining threat to structures. KTLA, June 30, 2024. Crews with the smoke from the Sierra Fire will cause elevated PM 2.5 levels in parts. Yahoo! The 2-alarm blaze, dubbed the Sierra Fire, was first reported around 3:30 p.m. 10, Colorado. Boulder, Gilpin, and Elbert counties issue fire restrictions due to increasing fire danger. Denver 7. Use of indoor fireplaces and wood-burning stoves with an approved chimney spark arrestor. Fires within liquid-fueled or gas-fueled stoves, grills. 11. Indiana, Allen County, Fort Wayne. Barns destroyed in Northeast Allen County fire. Whoa. Burning wood. Network Indiana. A fire destroyed 2 barns on a farm in northeast Allen County early Tuesday morning. 12. North Carolina Goodman Project. Burning wood is not renewable energy. So why do policymakers pretend it is? The Goodman Project, burning wood to generate electricity, biomass energy, is increasingly being pursued as a renewable replacement for burning coal in nations like burning wood is not renewable energy. So why do policymakers pretend it is? The single largest emitter of CO2 in the UK, biomass firm Drax, is trying to open 2 wood pellet plants in the state of California. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. June 30th, 2024. Burning wood to generate electricity, biomass, wood burning, energy, is increasingly being pursued as a renewable replacement for burning coal in nations like the UK, Japan, and South Korea, even though its emissions aren't carbon neutral in practice. The single largest emitter of CO2 in the UK, biomass, wood burning, firm Drax, is trying to open 2 wood pellet plants in the state of California. A complicated web of public relations messaging obscures the fact that replanting trees after cutting them down and burning them is not in practice carbon neutral or renewable. We burn it and don't count those emissions. This is just an imponderable policy. The reporter lives near 4 wood pellet plants in North Carolina, where biomass giant Enviva has several facilities. While that company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy this year, it remains the single largest producer of wood pellets globally. This firm, Enviva, is one of several alongside Drax in the UK, seeking to expand its global stake in the shift to renewable energy, a category of energy generation that industry and regulators insist burning wood, biomass belongs in. However, a recent analysis shows it's not renewable and adds more carbon to the atmosphere than coal and gas. But due to complicated language in the Kyoto Protocol Treaty that extended the 1992 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, several nations and the European Union still allow the burning of wood pellets to be counted as renewable and carbon neutral, and thus made eligible for subsidies too. To slow climate change down and cutting down trees, calling it carbon neutral, that's just one of those loopholes that is just completely man-made. 13. Oregon, Portland. PM 2.5 in meat. Is meat smoke actually a health hazard? Willamette Week. Wood, natural gas, gasoline. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Rozep View. This article writer has a wood pellet burning Traeger grill. Excerpts from the article. Meat smoke contains PM 2.5 smoke particulates. You get PM 2.5 whenever you burn anything, wood, natural gas, or gasoline. The duration and concentration of the exposure matters. If your job is standing in a smoke cloud 8 hours a day, maybe take some precautions. Rozep View. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as natural gas burning. A wood pellet burning meat grill emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as a natural gas burning grill. 14. Oregon. Union County begins regulated use fire season. Elkhorn Media Group. As described in the county ordinance, while in regulated use fire season, the use of incinerators and burn barrels for the burning of untreated wood. 15. Canada. Facebook posts. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. June 30th, 2024. A non-burner's indoor air quality should never be compromised by a nearby wood-burning stove, fire pit, or debris burning. Our homes are our sanctuary where we should be safe, comfortable, and relaxed. Rather, when we smell wood smoke inside our homes, we become stressed, angry, and fearful for our family's health. The burner becomes our adversary rather than our good neighbors, which causes divisions, bad feeling, and worry about our community airshed and health. Any other pollutant of this magnitude would be recognized by environmental agencies as a serious threat and condemned immediately. Why should this problem be any different than another type of air pollution problem? Modern EPA/CSA-approved wood stoves are releasing harmful PM1 into the air of our communities. PM1 is far more harmful than PM2 because it enters the bloodstream easier and then lodges in vital organs in the bodies of humans and animals. Wood smoke contains hundreds of toxic chemicals that are released into the air we all breathe. Children and seniors are much more susceptible to respiratory diseases when exposed to airborne pollutants. With well over 100 wood stoves, many uncertified, in our high smoke sensitivity zone valley, we are subjected to levels of PM air pollution far above the recognized World Health Organization's levels for safety. Really, there are no safe levels for wood smoke air pollution, making claims by the HPBAC that their stoves are certified and therefore safe a false claim. June 29th, 2024. Does anyone have a right to pollute a neighbor's yard, home, and indoor air with their backyard debris burning fires, fire pits, or wood stoves? How is it acceptable to pollute the air others breathe in their yards and homes? What about the school children's air when they are in school or on the playgrounds? We live in one of the most beautiful places on earth, and yet people throw garbage along the roads and pollute the air with smoke. Endangering other people's health is nobody's right. 16. Canada, Alberta. Fort McMurray Forest Area Wildfire Update. July 1st, 2024. The Alberta Wildfire Block. Government of Alberta. Safe wood campfires, backyard fire pits, portable propane fire. Any burning without a valid fire permit, other than a campfire, is prohibited. 17. New Zealand, Timaru. Reduce air pollution in Timaru. Environment Canterbury pleads. The Post. Ekin asked Timaru residents with wood burners to use dry wood, efficient burning techniques, and ensure the burner and flue were well maintained. High levels of airborne particulate matter could exacerbate or cause. 18. United Kingdom, England National Health Service, NHS. PM 2.5 and mortality. How lifestyle and air pollution patterns affect mortality. News Medical. PM 2.5, PM 10, and PM 2.5-10 in NOx. Data on mortality rates were obtained from the National Health Service, NHS, Information Centre for England. 19. United Kingdom, Northern Ireland. Does poor air quality contribute to 800 deaths in Northern Ireland every year? Fact check and I. The fine particulate matter, known as PM2.5, which can be breathed in by humans, are small enough to enter the lungs, and from there make their way. 2020. Research estimated that each year around 800 deaths in Northern Ireland are attributable to air pollution. The most recent academic research, 2023, suggests that the figure is higher. 900 premature deaths in NI attributable to fine particulate air pollution. Does poor air quality contribute to 800 deaths in Northern Ireland every year? Excerpts edited by Rosep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. July 2, 2024. Claim: poor air quality contributes to 800 deaths in Northern Ireland every year. Rating accurate. 2020 research estimated that each year around 800 deaths in Northern Ireland are attributable to air pollution. The most recent academic research, 2023, suggests that the figure is higher. 900 premature deaths in NI attributable to fine particulate air pollution. Per head of population, NI has more deaths attributable to poor air quality than Ireland. The SDLP manifesto for the 2024 general election claims that poor air quality contributes to 800 deaths in Northern Ireland every year. We've looked at the data, and this is accurate. The figure quoted by the SDLP is from research published in 2020. A more recent analysis estimates that the number is slightly higher, and that 900 premature deaths in Northern Ireland are annually attributable to exposure to fine particulate air pollution. The figure for Northern Ireland is higher than the rest of the island, when population size is taken into account. Source of information. A 2020 article in the Belfast Telegraph discussed the then Environment Minister's document about a Northern Ireland clean air strategy. The related Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs, DAERA, press release included a quote from the head of the British Heart Foundation Northern Ireland, saying each year around 800 deaths in Northern Ireland are attributable to air pollution, with a significant impact on heart and circulatory health. What's the science about air pollution and its link to poor health? People don't die of air pollution. It's not an immediate poison. Instead, poor air quality has a detrimental impact on your health. Summarizing a section providing context in the 2023 Air Pollution and Mortality on the Island of Ireland Report and Guidance on Air Pollution from the Office for Health Improvement and Disparities, formerly Public Health England, we learn. Air pollution can come from naturally occurring sources like forest fires, pollen, and volcanic eruptions. But it also comes as a byproduct of human activity, anthropogenic air pollution, such as the combustion of fossil fuels, domestic heating systems, particularly those that burn coal, wood, or turf. While you can be exposed to these fine particles within the home or an indoor work environment, research focuses on outdoor air pollution. Every time we burn something, we are releasing particles into the air which are damaging to health. The fine particulate matter, known as PM2.5, which can be breathed in by humans, are small enough to enter the lungs, and from there make their way into the bloodstream. Prolonged exposure to such particles can eventually lead to damaged pulmonary and cardiovascular systems. These harmful pollutants can narrow and harden blood vessels, leading to abnormal heart rhythms, increased blood pressure, and an increased risk of fatal heart attacks and strokes. The World Health Organization, WHO, lists poor air quality as one of the world's leading causes of avoidable disease and premature death, attributing 4.2 million deaths worldwide per year to exposure to outdoor air pollution. In particular, the WHO estimates that in 2019, some 37% of outdoor air pollution-related premature deaths were due to ischemic heart disease and stroke. Reducing fine particulate matter pollution levels would reduce levels of morbidity, the state of being unhealthy for a particular disease or situation, as well as reducing mortality, the number of deaths that occur in a population. It is important to stress that when researchers make estimates of premature deaths, they are not giving a direct headcount on the number of deaths that actually occurred in an area because of PM2.5 exposure. Rather, they are indicating how the level of PM2.5 air pollution in that region leads to an increased mortality risk in the local population by an amount equivalent to a particular number of deaths. In the case of the island of Ireland, studies draw together pollution exposure data across regions from the European Environment Agency, EEA, regional level mortality data from Northern Ireland Statistics and Research Agency, NISRA, and the Central Statistics Office, CSO, but excluding deaths due to external causes like accidents, homicide, suicide, etc. Estimates of the proportion of deaths in each region that can be associated with long-term exposure to ambient PM2.5 air pollution. From the Committee on the Medical Effects of Air Pollutants, COMEP, statement on quantifying mortality associated with long-term exposure to PM2.5, which involved a meta-analysis of global research. Data from 2019 is used by studies because it is the most recent year with data available that is unaffected by COVID-19. The 2023 study we rely on in this fact check also looks at the subset of deaths due to circulatory-related diseases. What's the figure for Northern Ireland? The European Environment Agency data about regional particulate PM2.5 concentration can be broken down by council area. Belfast has the highest 10.1 micrograms per cubic meter, followed by Antrim and Newtown Abbey, 9.4 micrograms per cubic meter. Levels are estimated to be lowest in Fermanagh and Omagh, 7.4 micrograms per cubic meter. Looking at Northern Ireland as a whole and Ireland for comparison, deaths PM2.5 μg/m3 attributable fraction attributable deaths due to PM2.5 air pollution. Area all-cause circulatory NI 14,698, aged 16 plus, 3,682, aged 16 plus, 8.6, 6.4%, 8.5%, 936, 314. ROI 29,612, aged 15 plus, 8,928. All ages, 7.5, 5.7%, 7.6%, 1,682, 681. Source, adapted from Tables 1 and 2 in Air Pollution and Mortality on the Island of Ireland Report, 2023. The researchers estimate that approximately 1,700 premature deaths, 680 from cardiovascular disease, in Ireland, and 900, with 300 from cardiovascular disease, in NI, are attributable to exposure to fine particulate air pollution. The researchers acknowledge that these new mortality estimates are higher than those published by the European Environment Agency, EEA, or the Global Burden of Disease Study for ROI in 2019. and by either Public Health England, PHE, for NI in 2010 or the Global Burden of Disease for NI in 2019. This reflects our use of updated dose-response functions based on growing research evidence that exposure to PM2.5 is more harmful than previously thought. Is air pollution bad in Northern Ireland? To compare across different populations, we need to standardize the results. The mid-year estimate for Northern Ireland's 16-plus population in 2019 was 1,529,994. ROI's total population in 2019 was 4,921,500, and its 15-plus population was 3,912,600. These figures allow us to calculate a comparable statistic for attributable deaths per 100,000 population. Attributable deaths due to PM2.5 air pollution per 100,000 population. Area all-cause circulatory. NI 61.2 20.5. ROI 43.0 13.8. Northern Ireland has a higher number of attributable deaths due to fine particle air pollution per 100,000 of population than the Republic of Ireland. Researchers analyzed the data across the island of Ireland by council area. Northern Ireland local government districts make up 6 out of the top 10, and the top 4 overall, across the island of Ireland. Cork and Dublin city councils are the highest areas in ROI. 20. United Kingdom, Southend. Firefighters face thick black smoke as they tackle blaze at Southend home. Yahoo News UK. Smoke coming from the property. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, you will see the old-fashioned wood-burning stove on a brick hearth and exposed red brick. 21. Greece. 2 wildfires are burning near Greece's capital, fueled by strong winds. AP News. A second, fast-moving fire later began north of Athens near the suburb of Stamata. It was burning through scrubland and forest and moving up 1100. 22. China. PM2.5 and cross-regional air pollution classification. Federated Bayesian Network approach for cross-regional air pollution classification, ResearchGate. PM2.5 fine particulate matter. BN Bayesian Network. Fed average, federated averaging. INIA immune optimization algorithm. 23. Pakistan. PM2.5 and deaths of children under 5 years old. Over 68,000 children under 5 died due to air pollution in 2021. Report, newspaper Dawn. Pakistan is already the second most air-polluted country in the world with average concentrations of PM2.5 14 times higher above WHO levels.